Well, this is champagne weather in the Victorian high country. You could not ask for a better day. And as I spy up there in the distance, there she is, Billy Goat's Bluff. My goodness, what a gorgeous track. Riding along the ridge tops and the saddles. Gee, this is going to be one to remember.
This is elation mixed with utter trepidation. Before me, the formidable Billy Goat track, and I'm nursing a wound at Everest. The last thing I want to do is rip the scab off the fuel tank. That patch is only temporary, and this is really not the country you want to be doing fuel tank repairs in. So I'm going to be scooting my way over bumps like a P-plater in a lowered car going through a McDonald's car park. Wish me luck, folks.
Well, they say that proper preparation prevents poor performance, and this is what we're doing now. We're going to dump some air out of the tyres because this, well, the national parks call this an exceptionally steep track, and I'd have to agree. So I'm lowering the tyre pressures to 25 psi for this one. You could possibly go a little bit lower if you wanted to, but I'm just going to kick off at that. And we do that because we want maximum traction up here. When things are steep, you want to be steep and you want to be stable and you want to grab as much traction as you possibly can. And by lowering the tyre pressures, you've essentially just got more rubber on the ground. And that's pretty important. When you lower your tyre pressures, you do lose a little bit of ground clearance, and that is a bit of an issue there for Josh because he's already got that damaged fuel tank, and that's going to be even closer to the deck. But it's far more important that he has good traction because it's more important to pick good lines and not slide around the track. That's where he got damaged in the first place because he slid on the track and smacked down on a rock. So if you've got the traction, you can pick the right line and then you can keep that belly off the deck. On days like today, I tend to think my life is a wonderful scam. How the heck do I get to go four-wheel driving in this sort of country for a living? And 16 years into this TV show journey, it doesn't get old, folks. It just gets better.
This track is steep coming down and somehow steeper going up. This is so much fun.
The trick with Billy Goats, the trick with any four-wheel drive track, I guess, is picking the right line, making it easy for your four-wheel drive to grab traction all the time. It is the difference between making it look like an absolute doddle and a really, really serious, dangerous kind of a climb. So make sure you just stay buttoned on all the time on these tracks, and the aim is to try and keep those tyres on the ground at all times and use any traction device you can get your hands on. A differential lock, traction control, if you got it, turn it on. How are you finding it back there, mate? The first taste of Billy Goat's Bluff.
Oh mate, does it get any better? Early morning, low range, diff lock on, and we are crawling up a steep hill. I'm a little bit worried about this tank, but the excitement is far outweighing the fear.
They're grabbing beautiful traction at the moment, aren't they? They're really doing it kind of easy.
They absolutely are. How's it leading the pack in the big Ranger?
Mate, I don't think I've slipped at all. Obviously we put the locker in straight away, but yeah, she's been solid as a rock, solid as a Billy Goat.
Pat just said we need to kiss the trees on the right hand side of this track as we come up. I'm not sure what that means, but no, didn't get it on it. No, they're too far away.
There are some wonderful little switchbacks here on the track. You've really got to choose the right line, just so you can all do it in one bite of the cherry. But boy, the view over your shoulder as you do it. Whoa. Mwah.
Have you got any tips on me for this one? My daily driver is a Ranger, so I'm thinking of everything in a long wheelbase mindset. How different are the lines for a shorter wheelbase like this Everest?
Mate, in this rocky country, I tend to prefer something like the Everest because you've just got a better ramp over angle, really. You've got the same lift as me, the same tyres as me. It's just the wheels are a little bit closer together, so that lovely ramp over angle means that you are a little bit better off in most situations. The other thing I love about the Everest wheelbase is the fact that the Ranger has a common wheelbase to many different four-wheel drives on the market, and that means that the holes are dug in the Ranger style wheelbase. Whereas your wheelbase being that little bit different, and it's only probably around about, I don't know, 300 mil difference, but it is a large difference on a four-wheel drive track. So usually it means that your tyres are less likely to get stuck in the common holes that are on a track.
This is what I'm finding, and it just makes this thing into such a plucky beast. I'm loving it.
Yes, it's a proverbial little mountain goat. So Josh, I'm often the one banging out the tips on this show. What's going through your head? What are you thinking as you go up these steep hills?
Oh mate, thank you. I'm thinking a lot about wheel placement, especially because of the fuel tank repair that we've done. That's certainly a temporary fix. So I'm scooting around bumps like a P-plate up in a lowered car in the McDonald's car park. That's my main priority, and then keeping wheels on the ground and trying to keep this traction up. The last thing I want to do is slide backwards and ruin everyone's day and one of your prides and joy.
That is hilarious, your little piece, that your advice there, because it was so similar to mine.
There are a few greater honours than being held to that regard, so thank you, mate. What goes through your head if something like a drive shaft went or something like that, and we're going backwards? What's your first port of call going to be?
Brakes. And look, if I'm heading backwards down a hill rapidly, which I've done a few times unintentionally, actually in the high country, because I've done it a few times, I switch very quickly into steering mode and rear view mode, and yeah, whenever I'm rocketing backwards unintentionally, I'm always really just trying to steer brake, and but not lock things up. Yeah, thankfully I've never had a drive shaft fail on me on one of these steep hills, so who knows what I would actually do, but I've done it a few times on muddy hills with trailers on the back, and it's yes, it's a scary thing.
Yeah, it's touch wood. I've got nothing but firm belief and confidence in these routes, so I'm going to sit back and enjoy this ride, this view with the Ranger in front. Yeah, so.
You find us crawling slowly up Billy Goat's Bluff. And while yes, we were here last year, this time we're attacking it from the other direction. And it's just, if not more, of an incredible experience.
The best way I can describe this track is a roller coaster with balls. It is not smooth, but it is up steep, it is down steep. You have your stomach in your mouth at times, but boy, is it fun. This is why we do this. This is why we get out there. We pay lots of money for accessories, lots of money for vehicles. Being out here, folks, this is what it's all about. Beats drive at a desk.
These two rigs on this track are proof that you do not need to go ham on modifications. These are a conservative lift, conservative choice of rubber, and we're doing everything. And not only are we doing everything, we're doing it all on the same equipment that we did last season with. It hasn't changed at all. And that is proof that with the right gear, you can really go anywhere.
When you are climbing these really long, steep ascents, you want to keep an eye on your transmission temperature. Not all vehicles actually have a transmission temperature gauge. Thankfully, these Fords do, so it's very easy just to dial it in. This one's not going too bad, but we are stopping and starting for the camera crew, so that does allow time to cool down. So if you don't have a transmission temperature gauge, it's probably worth looking into getting one if you are going to do lots of steep terrain driving. Now, I would be doubly keeping an eye on that if I was towing something. Obviously, your transmission's going to be working a hell of a lot harder then, and you really might want to stop and give it a breather on occasion. On a track like this, in say a previous generation Volkswagen Amarok V6, I would not take a trailer on a track like this because the transmission will continually overheat and you're going to have to stop and give it a breather all the time. It'll probably get you through, but you will have some issues with it. Ask me how I know. But having said that, you can fit aftermarket transmission coolers, and if you do that, you'll be home and hosed. You might be asking, can I tow a camper trailer on a track like this? Well, you can, and I did that last year. If you were doing that, I'd probably go from the other end, opposite end to Dargo, largely because some of these inclines are pretty scary and hairy, and if you do get stuck going up a hill and you've got a trailer on the back, it can get a little bit iffy. You can jackknife trying to back down. Believe me, I've done it before. So I'd prefer to come from the other end. I would also try and ensure that it's not a big camper trailer. I wouldn't take a big hybrid or something on there. I'd try and keep it around the 1 ton mark or lighter. The lighter, the better for this sort of serious terrain. And I'm sure someone has taken far bigger along this track, and I'm sure they've done it fine and safely. I just wouldn't recommend it. There's a few little neat rock steps we've got coming up here. But there's buckets of traction. That's the thing about rocks. They look scary, they look foreboding, but I tell you, right tyre pressures, diff locks on, you're laughing up here.
This is gnarly and not the nicest angle to be on at times, but I am very comfortable. Just ridiculous the things we do for fun and adventure.
How good does it look in your rearview mirror? What a pretty sight.
Oh mate, I feel like we just gained about 3,000 million meters of altitude in 3 seconds. What a fun little track that was.
It is probably the most aptly named track in Australia, isn't it? This is a freaking goat track. It's funny, I thought that this way was going to be a harder way because we were ascending, not descending, but these cars climb so well and grab so much traction that it's actually a doddle. Like, it's really not that hard. It's, I mean, yes, you need to choose your line, but God, they're eating it up, aren't they?
They're genuinely loving it. I like to think of this Everest as a sentient being, and this is definitely its happy place. But even the dialed back throttle response that they've given us in low range, it just makes this so easy to control.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? It's a whole combo of things. You know, you've got the torque when you need it. You've got the, ooh, some wombat holes here, good ones. Yeah, you've got the torque when you need it. The transmission just is right, it works, and you know, the suspension works. So you put all those things together and you just got yourself a cracking 4x4.
It's the killer combo. It's just so good. It makes these tracks so much more enjoyable as well, because we get to look out the window, we get to really soak it all in so easily. We're not worried about transmission temperatures or anything, we're just enjoying the ride. Oh, I love this. This is a smile only rock crawling can give you, folks. Oh.
There's a nice little step coming up here. Let's see how we go. Oh, this thing is a mountain goat. I'm so impressed. You can put wheels and tyres off the ground every day of the week, but she still seems to grip.
Oh no, I do not like that angle.
As the camera crew raced on ahead to set up the next shot, something unexpected happened. Josh flagged me down to talk.
Well, we're definitely in my happy place, but that does not always mean that I'm feeling my best. We actually just pulled over, Pat and I, for a bit of a trackside chat. This is where I think my clearest, and we had a really cathartic and heartfelt conversation about how I've been feeling, and especially today. Pat paused a whole shoot just to keep chatting to me, and I can't tell you how much that means, but I also can't tell you how important that is. I opened up to a mate and I told him how I've been feeling, and he's been nothing but supportive. And this is why you need to talk to your mates. Doesn't matter how bad you're feeling or how little you think other people care, because you are not thinking clearly. They do care, and it does matter, and your feelings are beyond valid. The fact that Pat just stopped a whole shoot just to have a chat to me about what I'm going through shows you that nothing is really more important than your mental health. So everybody speak up and be heard.
People suffering with depression will often brilliantly disguise the turmoil that's happening within. I was just so proud of Josh that he was brave enough to share his struggle with me. I have many superlatives, none of which I can think of at the moment. That is a view and a half.
There are literally no words. I'm not even going to try, mate. They just have to come here and see it for themselves. It is so amazing. And what I love is that you have seen this before, but your reaction tells me it's just like the first time. That is the charm of this place.
Yeah, man, it is. Yeah, it's something special. As the Italians would say, spectacular.
Certainly the word for it.
Straight off the ridge and into the mud, just the way I like it. Hopefully coming down won't be too much of a battle. We are off the technical track of Billy Goat's Bluff, and we are on our way to one of the most spectacular spots in all of the alpine country, and that is the Pinnacles. We were here last year and we were greeted to the most gorgeous sunrise you will ever see. Clouds in the valley creeping along, and we did manage to capture this beautiful time lapse. But now, well, it's just after lunch, it's a sunny day, and I think it's going to look a little bit different. It's a short walk to the pinnacle, but as you ascend, the view, well, it just keeps on improving.
You come up here to the Pinnacles lookout and you're doing it for the big lookout, the big view, but you look down at your feet and the view's just as beautiful, possibly more so. I mean, these flowers, it's a botanical wonderland. I mean, those paper daisies I love them.
Oh, they're stunning, mate. This is the gift that keeps on giving.
It is.
Oh, wow. I feel like we're looking down at a map.
Yeah, like one of those 3D ones, hey, yeah. Oh man, such a cool perspective from up here, isn't it? You can see, like, I think we came from over there, that's Dargo, billy goats, and where we're headed, over our left shoulder there. Beautiful.
So good. So bloody blue.
What a stunning spot. I'm just so glad we came back.